Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the virtual Citrix Ready Partner Pavilion at HIMSS 22. My name is Rubal Walia. I'm bringing you yet another interesting session with our partner Guardicore. In this session, you'll learn about security, you'll learn about microsegmentation, and much more. But before we go into that, let me welcome our guest for the day, Marco. Marco, you want to tell the audience who you are and what do you do at Guardicore?
Sure. Thanks so much. My name is Marco Raffaelli. I'm a business development manager at Akamai, formerly of the Guardicore organization, and my job is to do our joint go-to-market programs with our tech alliances.
All right, let's start with the first question I or our audience will have in their minds as well. So you mentioned Guardicore, now part of Akamai. Let's learn more about that.
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, I was on the Guardicore team prior to the acquisition news coming out. But now that Akamai has acquired Guardicore and we're part of the Akamai team, we're really excited to bring new solutions to our customers and partners. Many folks think of Akamai primarily as a CDN organization, but they also have a very large security business. So some of the things that they offer are secure web gateway, ZTNA, enterprise threat protection. And now with the Guardicore acquisition and that Guardicore platform under the Akamai suite of security products, they're offering zero trust microsegmentation as part of that suite of security products. So really excited to bring that portfolio to life and have Guardicore be part of that Akamai security offering.
So you said a very key word, microsegmentation. That has been piquing my interest for quite a while. Let's talk a little bit about what is microsegmentation and what does Guardicore do?
Yeah, microsegmentation is basically an approach to reduce your attack surface, limit unnecessary connections, and limit lateral movement. And what we mean by that is taking down your segmentation down to the workload, down to the application, down to the user identity, and setting really granular security policies. Because while we like to think that modern security measures and solutions are really powerful, and they are, it's also the reality that breaches are often inevitable. So when that breach unfortunately does happen in organizations, we want to make sure that we limit the spread of that by, again, reducing those unnecessary connections, ensuring that users only have access to the servers or applications or workloads that they really need. Because if an attacker does gain a set of credentials through alternative means or gains a set of credentials they shouldn't have, that there is only so much damage that they can do, right? So we want to limit the spread of malware, limit the lateral movement of a ransomware, and we do that through microsegmentation and through those means.
Awesome. So if I've understood you correctly, you basically reduce the attack surface, segment the IT infrastructure into several pieces so that when an IT infrastructure is impacted by a ransomware or an attack, there's minimal damage to the infrastructure. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. And that's really our take on microsegmentation. But the platform as a whole, if we were to take a step back and just think about what Guardicore does beyond that, it's an application that is agent-based, or a platform that is agent-based. So you can run it on clouds, virtual machines, even your endpoints, complementing your firewalls. It's really versatile, runs in a number of, or really any operating system, because the goal is to visualize everything that you have in your environment, because as the cliche goes, if you can't see it, you can't secure it. So once you do have everything visible in your user interface, you can see which connections are running, you can see which external connections are happening, who has access to what, and from there start to work to reduce that attack surface and really segment very granularly so that, again, if and unfortunately when that breach occurs, it is very much mitigated.
Awesome. That sounds like amazing add-on to our customers running the Citrix stack of software. So let's talk about your integration with Citrix a little bit. How do you guys integrate with our technology?
Yeah, so specifically with regards to Citrix, we partner with Citrix on their virtual desktop infrastructure solution. So we use identity-based segmentation to protect those VDI environments and individual workloads. So again, instead of broadly siloing assets or servers to reduce that attack surface, we let the user or the customer or administrator set very granular policies that ultimately improve security by limiting the possibility of malicious lateral movement. And in terms of the slightly technical piece on that integration, it's an agent-based microsegmentation solution. So you can do that, you can install the agent on the server instances by either installing it on the master image or installing the agent via automation through the SSCM or System Center Configuration Manager. And then once you do have that Guardicore agent on the server, any activity on the VDI server or VDI enabled desktops is now visible. So that information populates on the Guardicore Center UI and what we call our reveal map, where everything is visible. This lets the user start applying their security policy, again, reducing their attack surface, do that granular segmentation we talked about in their Citrix VDI environment, and reap all the benefits of the Guardicore platform.
All right, great. Thanks so much for that overview. All of our audience on this virtual event are from a healthcare organization. So let's talk about how does your solution in combination with Citrix help some of the healthcare IT organizations?
For sure. So just to set the groundwork a little bit, VDI is a really agile IT infrastructure model for healthcare organizations, letting doctors and nurses quickly and easily access their applications and their data, right? They're moving throughout their facility, they're working with various patients. So that flexibility is really great when it comes to VDI. So that's made possible by centralizing all the data and applications in a shared server or a group of servers with shared storage and compute capacity, which gives really profound productivity gains and employee enablement. But the ability to really manage that user access to the data and various applications is a little bit traded off for that productivity and simplicity that users enjoy with virtual desktop infrastructure. So that kind of access management is essential for a secure environment, and it's actually required by many compliance bodies, especially in healthcare. All right, so everybody listening in and just understanding the depth of compliance needs in healthcare knows, yeah, it's pretty extensive. So for a simple example of how this might produce vulnerabilities, if a single set of user credentials is stolen and that user is given an all-access pass to any application or data in the environment, that opens the door for the attacker to see and extract any kind of patient data they want, right? So it's not just, maybe I have some downtime with this breach. Now I've exposed patient data, unfortunately, and of course we don't want that. So this is where Guardicore Centra steps in to help. Let's say you have multiple users logging into the same server. If multiple users have access to those same applications, even ones they don't need, your attack surface is far larger than it needs to be, and that door is open for those attackers to move laterally. Using Guardicore Centra and those core value propositions I mentioned earlier on, you can ensure that any user on Citrix VDI only has access to those applications and that data that they really need, which helps you eliminate those unnecessary connections that create unwanted vulnerabilities. And if I can just summarize that into a few core points here. Using Guardicore Centra and Citrix VDI together, you get really holistic security and control. You can restrict that lateral movement by limiting the attacker's movement across the environment in the event of a breach. You can accelerate the compliance because, as the cliche goes, but important and worth restating, once you can see everything, you can secure it. And by having that visibility, understanding your connections, you can have those compliance projects really accelerated and be quicker to answer those tough questions. And then you can execute a real zero trust strategy and a zero trust model. Just again, zero trust with the assumption that everything is malicious or everything is breached, and eliminating the possibility of lateral movement. You can really bring that zero trust security strategy to life.
All right, great. I think as an end user, I'm sold on this technology. I'm sure some of our audience are as well. But let's assume for a moment that I'm an IT admin. I'm sitting at a healthcare organization. I'm managing IT infrastructure with hundreds of employees and hundreds of devices. How can you make my life simpler, easier, secure?
Sure, I'll keep it simple. One, you can map all of your network flows and application dependencies in Guardicore Centra, so you can identify all the data flows that are happening, and by that you can eliminate the ones you don't need and use that information to create really granular security policies based on those findings. Number two, you can reduce your attack surface. So again, as doctors and nurses are moving through the environment, establishing connections, you want to limit the possibility of lateral movement. So by reducing your attack surface, that's done through everything from really broad security policy to really granular and user-based security policy, all interconnected with a VDI infrastructure. And lastly, and perhaps the favorite of some folks, is the cost reduction. So instead of mitigating those security risks by deploying additional servers to limit user access, the joint solution lets you operate with far fewer servers, since the segmentation is done with a software-based approach.
Awesome. So not only I reduce security threats for my organization, I also make my boss happy by reducing the cost.
Seems like a no-brainer, doesn't it?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marco. Okay, final question to you. I know security is a hot space. Security in IT, there are many players, creating technologies in this space. How does Guardicore differentiate?
Yeah, great question. And there are other microsegmentation or segmentation solutions available on the market that do things either similarly or less similarly to us. But I think where Guardicore stands out is the technical capabilities as a security platform and not just a segmentation platform. So some offerings might say, they have really comprehensive segmentation, but there isn't always a security element attached. And by that, I mean there isn't the capability of stopping lateral movements of ransomware, having advanced threat and breach detection. And we have that technology based on these rich insights that come from our labs team. So something like a periodic vulnerability scan isn't always enough. And our ability to detect those anomalies with research from that team, operating with a lightweight security agent that's really capable at breach detection, that's how we offer something a little bit more robust. And props to help visualize that a little bit. Every piece of the ransomware kill chain, as we like to call it, is addressed with Guardicore. So you can help prevent it by having really good security policy that you can execute with Guardicore. You have the ability to isolate a compromised asset to prevent that lateral movement. And then perhaps if a breach does occur, because you have the visibility of every connection in the environment and every asset, it's much easier to run that remediation effort because you know everything that was affected in the process.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Marco. And I'm sure you've piqued the interest of our audience by now. If they want to learn more about Guardicore, is there any place you want to send them to?
Yeah, absolutely. You can check us out at citrixready.citrix.com/Guardicore for more info.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Marco. It's been a pleasure talking to you today. And thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for taking the time. Signing off for now, but see you on the other side of the session. Thank you.
Thank you.